Okay, so this is going to be the first in a series on character creation and the basics that you need to know in order to play Neverwinter Online. So the first thing we're going to do is create a character. As you can see, I have created a few, but don't panic. You probably only have 2 spots available, and you only really need 1 to get started. So I'm going to click on New Character. And it's going to bring you into the cinematic. Now, I'm not going to let it run because right, we have other things to do, but it's well worth watching the first time through, just so that you can get a bit of an idea as to what has happened in the world. Right? So you can choose from female or male. For this example, we're going to select male. Right? You also have options halfling, tiefling. Click on these. Right? There's a halfling. There's a tiefling. There's a half elf. Then you've got 3 different kinds of elf you can do, wood, moon, or sun. You've got your humans, your half-orcs, your drow, and your dwarves. Right? So anybody that's watched a reasonable amount of fantasy probably knows what a bunch of those are. For today, we are actually going to be creating a halfling, Scourge Warlock. So as you can see, there are some additional ability bonuses down here, depending on which type of character you select. Like I said, for now, we're going to just select male halfling and hit continue. Alright. Now you need to select character class. You've got a number of options: rogue, cleric, wizard, great weapon fighter, a big weapon, Scourge Warlock, which is actually the one we're going to be creating today, hunter ranger, guardian fighter, which is the one that has the big shield, and then of course we'll find out what this one is when they release it. So today we're going to create a Scourge Warlock, and you can see again down here, right, the Scourge Warlock has some specific bonuses that it gives you as well. So we're going to hit continue here. Now this part is really important. You want the best scores you can get for especially your primary stat, which is the one listed in purple, or the 2 secondary stats, which are listed in blue. If you hover over them, you can see what the different ones will affect. And because of the race that we've chosen, we can go either +2 to their dexterity, which is their ability to move and function, or charisma. Or you can go for dex and constitution, which is what it is default. But what you're after is the best numbers you can get. So what we're looking for is pretty good numbers here without going down below 10 there if we can possibly manage it. So you do want to try and make your primary stat the highest one. And you can just keep rolling until you get the combination you're after, which can take a few tries, but is well worth doing. Let's see, strength is down. And it can sometimes take a reasonable amount of tries. Like I said, I'm just trying to make sure that we don't end up with any single digits. There we go. That's probably the best that we can get on short notice. Right? Normally I would continue to roll to get better, but right, your 3 stats that are not your primary or secondary are all at or over 10. And then my 2 secondaries are reasonable with my primary, which is the charisma bonus at this point, which is highest. Like I said, normally I would continue to go, but no point in just sitting here and spinning this for the next hour. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. Looking at that, I think what we might do, Forward it that way. And continue. Alright, now you get to actually play with their appearance. Alright, so to a certain extent this really isn't required, but the majority of us like to customize it at least a little bit so that we don't look like everybody else out there. So you can choose, let's see, zoom in since we're working on head. Right, and then you can turn him, try out different facial items, different hair. Let's go for one with a little bit of a scar running by. Alright, now you can, again, you can get really in-depth in crafting your character. Everything from body scaling to hair, eyes, right? Even eyebrows, facial hair, tattoos, right? Scars, which we've already given him one, right? And what have you. So I'm going to just step back. There we go. And continue. So again, you only actually have to do this if you really want to change your character's appearance somewhat. Most of us that do play tend to at least a little bit customize it. Go ahead and hit continue. Now you get to decide where you're from. You've got all different kinds of options. You can click on them and read about them. Find out different options under each that you can try. And we're looking for something that will fit with our halfling. Different things. So we're going to just select one. And again, you can choose different. Right? If you change it, it becomes a little bit of a different write-up. Okay, so there's that. And then you get to choose the god that you will technically worship in-game. Now, they all have their different bonuses, right? You can click on them and see what exactly it is that they have saying. You can have different, depending on what kind of character you have, whether or not you choose them. So, because this guy is going to be fairly into battle, we're going to go ahead and choose Tempest. Again, it is a personal choice. All you need to do is click on it, and it will give you a bit of a write-up to decide whether or not that is the deity you wish to follow in the game. Alright, so here we are. Right? You have created your city and the deity you're worshiping. You've got your ability scores sitting here, right? A little bit of info on your character type, which is the halfling, and a little bit on the class that you decided to take. Now, if you're good at naming things and you want to name this yourself, feel free. If you don't feel like you're good at naming things, then you can, hit random until you find one that you like. We'll use that one, right? You can always go in here and change it before you actually create your characters. So we've named it. We've got all the rest of it done. Now we're going to hit Begin Adventure.